Hiring internally versus externally for SEO teams, a strategic guide for 2025. Why SEO staffing is a pipeline decision in 2025. In 2025, B2B SEO isn't a marketing nice-to-have, it's a measurable revenue engine, with campaigns commonly producing 500% to 1,200% ROI and B2B SaaS averaging roughly 702%. That upside is exactly why the real strategic question isn't whether to invest in SEO, but how to staff it without slowing down pipeline. Your choice, internal, external, or hybrid, determines how fast you ship, how well you align to sales, and how reliably SEO becomes forecastable. Staffing also directly impacts lead volume and quality. 57% of B2B marketers say SEO generates more leads than any other marketing initiative. When SEO is treated like an owned growth function instead of a side project, organic becomes a repeatable source of meetings, not just traffic. That's why the hiring model should be evaluated like headcount planning, against SQLs, opportunities, CAC, and revenue. The goal isn't to pick a channel, but to build a system where SEO creates intent and sales development monetizes it. When inbound is flowing, SDRs spend less time wrestling cold lists and more time converting warmed-up accounts. When inbound is inconsistent, SDR teams and your outbound programs have to carry the forecast while SEO ramps. The sales math: why organic leads change SDR productivity. Not all leads behave the same once they hit your funnel. Inbound leads from SEO and other inbound tactics close at about 14.6%, compared with roughly 1.7% for traditional outbound alone. That gap is the difference between an SDR team fighting for replies and an SDR team working buyers who already self-qualified through search and content. Cost efficiency compounds the advantage. Content and SEO-driven inbound can generate about 3x as many leads at roughly 62% lower cost per lead than traditional outbound. That doesn't mean you should replace outbound. It means you should design staffing so inbound demand becomes usable sales capacity. The best teams treat SEO as a force multiplier that upgrades the quality of SDR time. This is where many companies miss-scope SEO. They buy rankings instead of buying pipeline. If the SEO function isn't anchored to revenue metrics, organic sourced SQLs, opportunity rate, and cost per opportunity, you'll get nice reports that don't move the forecast. Whether you hire internally or externally, success starts with shared KPIs and a weekly feedback loop between SEO and sales leadership. When hiring in-house makes sense and what it really costs. In-house SEO is a strong choice when you need tight day-to-day alignment with product marketing, RevOps, and sales, and when SEO is already proving it can source pipeline. It's also the best setup for keeping strategy close to the reality of deals, what prospects ask on calls, which objections stall opportunities, and which segments actually convert. That proximity helps prevent the classic problem of high traffic, low revenue. The trade-off is cost and coverage. As of late 2025, U.S. SEO specialists often earn around $80,000 to $96,000 in base salary before benefits and bonuses, and a single hire rarely covers technical SEO, content strategy, analytics, and authority building at a senior level. Once you include benefits, tools, ramp time, and management overhead, the real investment is closer to a small team than a single line item. The most common in-house misstep is hiring one junior SEO as the first and only move, then expecting enterprise-grade results. SEO typically needs consistent execution across multiple disciplines, and a lone generalist will bottleneck even if they're talented. If you're going in-house, start by assigning a clear SEO and revenue owner and building a plan that covers strategy, execution, and measurement end to end. When external SEO wins, speed, breadth, and specialized execution. External SEO support works best when you need momentum fast, you don't yet have internal playbooks, or you want access to specialists without building a full team. Many retainers fall between $500 and $5,000 plus such month, with widely cited averages around the low $3K range, often cheaper than the fully loaded cost of a single hire. That price-to-capability ratio is a big reason roughly 70% of SMBs prefer to outsource SEO rather than staff it fully in-house. But outsourced doesn't mean hands-off. Even agencies outsource. About 61% of agencies outsource at least one core SEO service, which is a reminder that SEO is inherently specialized and modular. The practical implication is governance. You need a tight scope, clear ownership, and quality control, so you're not paying for activity that doesn't map to pipeline. The avoidable failure mode is outsourcing SEO with no internal owner and no sales alignment. In that setup, agencies optimize for what's easy to report: rankings, impressions, traffic growth, while SDRs and AEs complain about lead quality. If you use an external partner, bring your SDR manager and an AE into vendor selection and require CRM-based reporting that ties organic activity to SQLs, meetings, and opportunities. If your SEO plan can't explain how it produces qualified meetings, it's not a growth strategy. It's a content calendar. The hybrid model. Most B2B teams should default to. For most growth stage B2B orgs, the safest staffing model is hybrid. Keep strategy and revenue alignment in-house and outsource repeatable execution to specialists. This design keeps your SEO roadmap anchored to real GTM priorities, segments, positioning, sales objections, while giving you scalable output in content production, technical fixes, and authority building. It also reduces single point of failure risk compared to betting everything on one hire. The key is defining the jobs to be done before you decide who does them. Strategy, funnel design, reporting, and prioritization should stay close to sales because that's where the feedback is sharpest. Execution can be externalized safely when you provide clear briefs, strong QA, and a measurable definition of done tied to lead quality and conversion rates, not just publishing velocity. This is also the model that aligns best with how revenue teams actually operate. SEO creates demand capture and education. Sales development creates conversations and controls follow-up speed. When we work with teams as a sales development agency, we consistently see stronger results when inbound intent is routed quickly with context, and outbound sequences reference the exact content the buyer engaged with. Avoid these common hiring mistakes and fix them fast. The most expensive mistake is treating SEO as a marketing cost center instead of a revenue investment. That framing leads to cheap labor, vanity metrics, and misaligned incentives. Then leadership concludes SEO doesn't work, when it was simply staffed and measured incorrectly. The fix is to design roles and vendor scopes around revenue KPIs like MQL to SQL conversion, cost per opportunity, and organic sourced pipeline. The second common miss is hiring a junior SEO as the first and only SEO move. In complex B2B, a junior hire typically can't handle technical architecture, content strategy, analytics, and link acquisition with the depth needed to generate meaningful pipeline inside a 6 to 12-month window. A better path is to pair a senior internal owner or fractional strategist with an external team that can execute consistently while internal playbooks are built. Finally, don't chase the cheapest offshore provider for high-stakes work. Ultra-low-cost SEO often relies on thin content and risky tactics that may inflate traffic but rarely produce qualified demand and can create long-term cleanup costs for your domain. If you do use offshore resources, constrain them to low-risk tasks under strict QA and keep strategy, technical decision-making, and ICP messaging with senior talent. Operationalize the handoff. SEO to SDR workflows that convert. Staffing decisions only pay off when your funnel is instrumented end to end. Every organic conversion should be tagged, routed, and measured through SQL and opportunity, so you can compare organic performance to other channels on the same scoreboard. When teams do this well, SEO stops being traffic and becomes a predictable input into SDR capacity planning. Build explicit playbooks that connect each SEO conversion point to an SDR motion. A demo request should trigger immediate follow-up and a specific talk track. A content download should trigger a sequence that references what they consumed and why it matters. This is where tools and partners matter. If you're using a cold email agency, a cold calling agency, or cold calling services, make sure the outbound team receives inbound context in the CRM within minutes, not days. The SEO replaces SDR's idea is usually a category error in B2B. The most resilient model uses SEO to create warmer accounts and uses outbound to create coverage and speed, especially while SEO is ramping. If you're evaluating sales outsourcing or an outsourced sales team alongside SEO spend, compare both on pipeline created per dollar, not on channel narratives. A practical 2025 decision framework and next steps. Start by modeling a 12 to 18-month business case that connects SEO work to pipeline, not page views. Use realistic ROI ranges, including the common 500% to 1,200% band, your average deal size, and your current conversion rates to estimate opportunities and revenue under 3 scenarios: in-house, agency, and hybrid. This forces the right question: which staffing model gets us to our revenue target fastest and safest? Next, pilot with tight scope and strong governance. A 3 to 6 month engagement focused on one segment or product line is usually enough to validate strategy, execution quality, and reporting discipline. Require weekly check-ins, CRM-based attribution, and a clear definition of success that includes lead quality, meeting outcomes, and opportunity creation. Finally, plan for coverage while SEO compounds. At SalesHive, we often support teams as a B2B sales agency during the SEO ramp by running outbound in parallel, so AEs aren't waiting for rankings to mature. Whether you hire SDRs internally, partner with SDR agencies, or use B2B sales outsourcing, the winning setup is the same. SEO generates intent signals and content gravity, and your outbound sales agency motion converts that momentum into booked meetings with consistency.